Hey, everybody. Long time no see, friends. Well, welcome back to Dr. Bariac Right channel. And on this channel, we talk about all things weight loss, all things wellness, all things wellness lifestyle, and we talk about transfer addiction, teen obesity, and some anecdotal pharmacist stuff, just stuff I think about, just stuff happening in my life, It's more of a lifestyle channel, where I'm giving my own personal experience of a life after weight loss surgery. 20 years after weight loss surgery. So that's what we talk about on this channel. So if you're here to talk about weight loss, teen obesity, wellness, opulent wellness lifestyle, you've come to the right place. My name is Dr. Kamika Baylor. I'm a pharmacist, functional medicine specialist, and 20-year weight loss surgery vet. So, what we're going to talk about today? Give me 1 minute and I will get back to you. Stick around. Don't you go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Sit down. Get real comfortable. I'm going to talk to you today. I'm going to make you act right today. What's up, everybody? Dr. Bariac right here. And today on our channel, we are going to talk about what's wrong with healthcare. What's wrong with people care? What's wrong with self-care in this country? All three of those things I just listed are lacking terribly in this country. With more of a magnifying glass or more under the microscope, you can really see it after COVID, when you were not able to go out as much or interact with people, when you had the isolation. Now I think it's very in your face, the lack of care that is given today in America. One thing that really bothers me, though, is the problem with healthcare in America is a big issue. Extremely after the pandemic. There's just not enough providers, okay? And the pandemic drove away some of the ones that were there. Everybody's trying to get out of healthcare. And why is that? Well, it's a business. It's become a business. And when you are a child, a little kid, or you're in college, you have the idea of going into healthcare as a clinicians or healthcare providers to provide just that care. You spend a lot of time studying to problem solve for other people's problems, okay? Never teaching you about solving for your own problems. You just solving for other people's problems. And you get really good at that with all the classes that you have to take to solve problems. It puts your mind, it opens your mind to be able to think critically when in situations, which is good. But what happens is some people lose track of that, even during school a little bit, because you're anticipating the pay when you get out. And why is that? Well, because you are taking on, unless you're wealthy, and I mean you have to be wealthy, not even middle class, a ginormous amount of debt and loans. No matter if you went to a private school, public school, whatever, there's a large, extremely large amount of debt and interest that goes into any of the advanced professional fields. The most, well, doctors have a lot, but there are some degrees where you don't pay as much loans, or you don't have to incur as much loans. But from what I understand, just independently, just the title dentist pay more than physicians, and then the physicians are second, and then pharmacists are right after that, very close to physician. The loans are ginormous, and for each of these, the pay is going down, 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 and so you're left in a dilemma of, yeah, you need this high-paying job, so you have to work these crazy hours and do all these crazy things, and yes, it's a good living, and yes, you can still live comfortably afterwards, but the expense that you have to pay for a lot of people the rest of their lives for going to school is a constant problem, and that I think contributes to the downgrade of care that's being given. Not because people are just money hungry, people are working already shorthand, and then they're working more to try to pay off these student loans, so they're stretched even thin. And don't get me wrong, other optometrists, chiropractors, nurses, advanced degree nurses, there's quite a bit of loan there, but those top three, 9 times out of 10, you will be leaving school with anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 in student loan debt. And the interest rates are crazy, and you don't qualify because of your job title or because of your earning potential or what you're earning for any of those loan forgiveness programs, or you don't qualify, so you're stuck with that bill forever. So some people feel kind of stuck and overworked, and sometimes the service is lacking because of that, and it's not their intention. I don't think anybody signed up with intention to be nasty toward people, but they are human beings as well. And just like when you're irritated about something about your job or whatever, you might lash out, and that's not right either, and it's no excuse for it, but you have to give some people some grace at times, because it is a high stress environment, and we're working at a high stress environment where you have to think quickly. At almost all of these jobs, everybody's looking to you to have the answers. Okay, so you have to think quickly, and you have to be able to multitask, and you have to do all of these things at one time, and you got to be an octopus and a magician on top of that, and a therapist, and for pharmacists, a janitor, a security guard, a private investigator, and a tax person, a auditor. You have to be all of these things in one. while you're trying to make sure you don't make any mistakes that might kill somebody. So it's a very stressful job. There's no excuse. And being able to step away from being inside of the pharmacy, in the trenches, in the retail setting, and that setting is probably the most stressful pharmacy profession. Being able to step back and see exactly, reevaluate how I was working, while I was working, and what it came to be. It became to be it's a business, okay? So we're trying to make a profit, and sometimes meeting some of those goals and targets and all of those things, you can lose a bit of compassion or empathy for people, a little bit of humanity, because you're doing a job like robotically, and sometimes you need something to snap and let you remember, like, oh, these are people with feelings and family and problems, and they have concerns and issues and all of that too, you know what I mean? We are attacked, because a lot attacked verbally and even sometimes physically, because people are in pain, and not just physical pain, but in emotional pain of dealing with a loved one or dealing with their own health. And we're more accessible than any other of the healthcare providers. And so we get a lot of the backlash after they've had some hard conversations with doctors, or hard conversations with the family, or been waiting a long time in hospital waiting rooms and all of these things, and they feel horrible. And when they get to our stores, sometimes, a lot of times, not sometimes, often times, they are going to have to wait in a long line and wait for a prescription, and they may have a attitude, which is understandable, and they may lash out on us. And so what does that make us do? We are on a defense, and we lash back, and then from that point we are on a defense all the time, because somebody's always trying to get over. You got once or twice a day, somebody's going to try to get over on you. Somebody, like you being a security guard, somebody's fighting in there. You have to be disciplinarian, janitor, something's broke and you need to fix it. You know, it's a lot of that going on. So you have to keep your wit about you. You can't be too emotional either when you're working with this kind of situation. But the point is that it's a vicious cycle, and it's caused by the healthcare system in general. From the initial point of becoming a healthcare provider, to being on the front lines, to moving up in any direction in the company or in the hospital setting or in administration of the hospital or any kind of thing like that, with becoming a place of leadership, it all carries its own beast. And as you move up, care is thought of to given to the patient or to the customer, however you want to address them. But as you move up, you are not in the situation, and you're not there, and you sometimes they forget about actually being there and what is possible and what you have to go through on a day-to-day basis. And so they make up these policies and rules, and oh, this is a good idea, and a lot of times they're just not a good idea. Especially when you have like a high volume store, and when they tested a new initiative, it was probably done in perfect conditions, you know. You didn't have to worry about not just being robbed. Okay, that's one thing, being robbed, but our endless numbers of fake prescriptions or fraudulent prescriptions or quack pill mill doctors that you have to validate or do your due diligence to find out what's going on. There are things that won't fit every model because you haven't addressed every model. You haven't took into account all the scenarios that happen in your stores because you haven't been there. And when you go to the stores or when you go to survey the hospitals, they have prepped to be on their best, and you go when early, or you don't go when it's chaos. They don't come in there and it's all polished and everything, and they've given me enough hours that day, that week, to get ready for you to come. You don't get to see what it's like when there's people standing from the front of the store to the pharmacy in line, and every register is open, and every station is manned, and you still have this line all day. And so it makes a vicious cycle between the patients and the healthcare providers and the decision makers. Each person in their mind is trying to do what's right, do the best, but a lot of times other people's feelings are not really being considered. It is what works into each of their best interests, including the patient. They have a lot of confidence in themselves, or a lot of assurance, or they think that because you're behind the counter or you're in that store, that you don't have a family, or you don't have a past, or you don't have your own issues and health problems and all of this. You don't have that. And because this is your job, those kind of people, they don't care to consider that. So they come to the job, and some of them, think they want to fight you. They really think they do. They think they want to hit you. They think they want to follow you home. They think they want to do these things. But honestly, they have no idea what would come to them if they did that. If they hit me. If they did it. The years and years of problems and concerns that haven't been addressed. You don't know the person's life, so you threaten to hit them. Sometimes they're wishing you would, because you will get all of the things will come down on you. So I don't know if you really want that. Just because you think we went to school and we have a license and all of that, I don't think you want to hit them, because you don't know what's on the other side of that, okay? And even people thought they threatened me, or there's some kind of thing with my like to take my life, kind of things like that, and I would be ready. I will be ready. So this is how serious it gets when everybody's forgetting about humanity and forgetting that we are all people. And you're trying to remember that this person has a problem, but they're threatening your life, okay? Yeah. Sometimes you didn't even do anything at all to them. They just decided that you are the person that day, not knowing that that person that they're threatening, that healthcare provider is on the thinnest, the thinnest line, edge. They're on the edge. And just one more thing will tip it over. And you think you have issues. You will see the issues that have developed because of this constant situation where you are under extreme amount of stress, working short, not working to the full of your license, not able to do what you came to do, what you signed up for is not happening, okay? And then you getting threatened every single day. These people are on the edge too. But it's no excuse for them treating you rudely, especially when you did nothing to them. Because of all of these dynamics, this is what happens when you go into the office and the doctor is short with you. Something happened, okay? And a lot of times, if they sat down and thought about it and, had the time to, clear whatever had happened, or even if it was a couple of days ago, to let the, air out, all of that, let it all, come down and simmer down, then it may not be that way. But this is a system that we didn't create and we don't like either, But people a lot of times forget that whatever they're doing, they signed up as a healthcare provider to do that one thing, and that is care. And that is at every level. And from the top to the bottom, we signed up to care for people. And not only to care for our patients, but to care for one another. And that doesn't happen either. And just as we become rude to our patients, we're rude to our colleagues, indignant to our colleagues, disrespectful to the colleagues. And this is everyone. The person that holds a doctorate, the person that is the assistant, the person that is the trainee, every level has been disrespected on the same field and across fields, and diagonal, from the top over here to the lowest over here, the lowest over here to the top over here, without respect, because you're not in my zone, or you're not in my field here. Well, in the same field, but you're not a physician, or you're not a nurse, or you're not a pharmacist. So they feel licensed to disrespect your peers, your colleagues. And that is not what we signed up to be either. This is supposed to be one sound, one band, one sound. We're all supposed to be working as a multidisciplinary community, working together to make these people, care for these people, make them feel better, help them to get well in our own zone of genius, okay? But a lot of times, egos get in the way, and we're all overworked, and it's sometimes the total pole of who's being overworked and who has the most caseload and all of these things like that. None of that matters when people are under so much stress that people in our field are unaliving themselves because of the high degree of stress that they're going through. And we can look and see who's the highest amongst our professions that are doing this, but it doesn't matter. It's being done, and there's no measuring rod that, there's more than this over there. There's more of these that do. it's a problem that is sad that is happening. That people who signed up to care for other people are, one, not caring for the people that they want to at the highest level, or the level that they anticipated they would be able to do when they signed up for all of these specialty schools, okay? And then never having the time to care for yourself at all, not even going to the doctor for yourself, or getting any checkups for yourself, or using the bathroom on a daily basis, often enough. I'm sure you can walk into any pharmacy and ask any other pharmacist, how many times have you went to the restroom today? It'll probably be once, really once. And I'm sure same could be said of nurses and physicians when they're in the, acute situations, urgent situations. That you rather do the work than to take care of yourself. And that is just the culture. That is what is unstated, but it's expected. It's not demanded per se, but it's expected for you to have no needs. Yeah, and if the day comes when you have needs, then you're becoming a problem. Yeah, and all of that good work you did, neglecting of yourself, neglecting of your family, not doing the best you can for your patients, because you're trying to continue the work. Nobody cares when you can't do it anymore. They don't care. They're going to grab the next person and put them in the place of you. So, and that's all of our different disciplines. Okay. So I really would like to plead with all of our colleagues across all of our specialties. Take care of yourself. I want to urge you to spend the time to take care of yourself, because you cannot care for the patients. You cannot have the compassion, the empathy, or anything you need to the fullest of your ability if you are not well, if you're not taking care of yourself. And this is not a joke. It's not, oh, you couldn't deal or something like that. I myself am a tough cookie. I come from a tough place, and there's no crybaby tears over here, not one day. But life keeps lifing, and it will catch up to you. So I want to tell you to remember to take some time for yourself, and you're gonna have to keep doing this and reminding yourself and taking the time to seek rejuvenating your bowels of compassion for people. Because all of these politics, all of these numbers, and all of this productivity, and all of this performance gets in the way sometimes of us remembering the compassion we need to show to our patient. Yeah, we're going to do with the right care steps, but we are not kind to them all the time. We're not patient with them all the time. We don't want to hear what they have to say. We don't want to include them in their healthcare decisions. We make it for them sometimes, and not all the time respecting them. So we have to remember that. And I want to plead to our patients out there and let them know, please, that these people are human beings. And they have problems just like you do. But they can't take their problems to work, so they bury them. they bury them in, and they keep going. Because there's no time for the tears. There's no time to mourn. There's no time to grieve. You got to do the work, okay? So have some compassion for them as well. Think about how your people are on your job. There's all different kinds of people there, and different kind of situations, and different kind of lifestyles, and different kind of traumas, and different kind of hurts and pains, and even health conditions. And all of those things are true in the healthcare profession. Some of those nurses, some of those pharmacists, some of those doctors, they have cancer themselves. May have heart disease themselves. They've had a miscarriage the day before when they're at work, things like that. So have some compassion too, Think about that when you at work. Do you really want to rush this person? Do you really want them to not review everything and miss something about with you, or forget something, or not document something because they just had a conversation with you that was so upsetting that this happened? Or even the incident that we just had with you drags over to the next person because they're human. So let's try to have human compassion for one another. That is my plea to us as healthcare providers and as people. Let's have some compassion. I myself have experienced exactly what the patient's going through. Recently, I was in a conference visiting in Florida, and I forgot my medicine at home, okay? And I suffer from anxiety, and this is causing me to have a extremely high heart rate most all the time. So I have to take a blood pressure medication because of that, and I forgot it. And I didn't realize till the second day that I hadn't taken it, because I can feel like, a little, uneasiness, my chest was feeling a little tight, and that usually hasn't been happening lately, but I can't really control that. It's my body doing it, and because whenever I get excitement or anxiousness, this is what happens, and I was without my medicine. So I know I'm going to call the pharmacy and I'm just going to go pick it up. It's going to be okay. And I just immediately was put on hold for 30 minutes. And then I was not upset because I know the conditions. I've been in the trenches. Somebody might have called up. I know what could have happened, why that happens sometimes. So I am not going to give you no slack about that, right? When you get on the phone, I'm like, hi, my name is this. I'm calling as an employee from California. I'm a pharmacist. I forgot my medication at home. Would you please transfer over a few days supply from there, and from my store, my home store, my old pharmacy? I was a manager there. Whatever you need to do, my pharmacist there will take care of me. If you need to speak to them, they'll do all of that. That was my store for a long time. And I told him that, and I say, well, and I don't really want to disrupt that prescription that's already ready, because I want to be able to pick it up as soon as I get home. So he said he was just very rude. He was like, well, if you're a pharmacist, as if I would have to lie. I don't even know why it was a question. And it was very nasty. Very, very nasty. And I called him out on it. I'm like, why are you being nasty? Why are you being rude? If I'm a pharmacist, I would know this and that and that. Well, if you're a pharmacist, you would know this, that, and the third. You know how to problem solve this for me, right? Instead of me being without my medicine in another state, right? I didn't tell him this, but this is the job. I would have figured it out. I would have tried to help, especially the person is here from another state without a medicine that they need. It's not like it's a Tylenol. It's something that they need. And you don't even know how many days it was that they were without their medicine. Didn't care, didn't ask. I'm like, well, I'm not in a rush. I'm not gonna rush you. What time can I pick it up? It's at 5. I'm calling you at 5 o'clock. He tells me 8 o'clock. I said, oh, okay. No worries. I'll wait for him. Waiting for the text for when it's ready. No text. So, like 9 something, I think they were gonna close. I thought they would close at 10, but they closed at 9. I didn't get a text. I really need this medicine. Heart rate is up, like up. I can't do anything about it. Trying to relax, it's just not going down. Okay, and then I get there, and the girl, somebody's checking out, and she, they're closing down, and it was like right at 9 o'clock. And he was like, we're closed. I was like, oh, I called earlier. I was waiting for you guys to give me a call back. I've been waiting for my medicine. I'm from out of town. I'm an employee, a pharmacist from another state. It's cash. I don't need, I'm not trying to get insurance, nothing. I just need the blood pressure medicine 2 nights, okay? And I'm paying cash for it. Close the window in my face and says to go to a 24-hour. And I'm like, go to a 24-hour? I just caught an Uber here from the hotel I'm staying at for the conference. And she goes, well, yeah, you're going to have to go to the 24-hour. The pharmacist is in there. He's not saying anything. He's not objecting to what she's saying. He's not saying anything. And she's telling me, like, I don't care what's going on with you. You're going to have to go to the 24-hour. I'm like, okay, so where's the 24-hour store? Do you have the number? It's over there on some, whatever she said. And I'm like, okay. I'm not here to argue. Those days are not, I'm not getting upset. My heart rate is already up, and it's going up more by just hearing this. So I'm not going to get with her and start going, being rude back. And so I just walked to the front and I asked the store manager, can I have your district manager's phone number? And he says, why? I'm like, well, I just went back there and I told them, I called hours before. I told them I was a pharmacist from out of state and I forgot my blood pressure medicine and I wanted to come and get a short day supply. I'm paying cash for it. And she just closed the door in my face and said, go to a 24-hour, asking him where's the 24-hour, and was not given the information. And he's like, oh, wow, man. And he's, he's a little nervous about me saying I'm going to call the district manager, but I have to. You don't do people like this. If you're doing your patients like this, you're talking to your patients like this, I'm trying to figure out why you even speaking to me like this. Is it because my name is Kamika, and it sounds very ethnic? And and I walk in, I'm a black woman with a lot of chains on, and and you kind of think maybe I'm lying. I don't know, but you can't do people like that. You can't judge people like that, and you can't treat people that way. That's not what we signed up for. That was not our oath. All of us took an oath to first do no harm and to do our best to try to help. That is all the oaths. They may have some variations in there, some of the steps, but those are key in all of the oaths of nurses, doctors, pharmacists, chiropractors, naturopaths, everybody. That's the oath. Okay, so that was the first thing. And it was just very disappointing. It wasn't even that he was rude. That's one thing. Yeah, you did the wrong thing. You didn't follow the right protocol. You're closing the gate early. You're having your techs tell people what the final decisions without speaking up. It's a lot of that going on. But the first thing is that you didn't care. You didn't care what would happen to the person. You didn't have a conversation. You didn't care. And then you have a colleague here that you didn't care in that instance. I have a very high heart rate. Not a little bit. It's very high. And if it didn't go down, I was going to go to the emergency room. Yeah. And then suppose I died because of this. Well, she shouldn't have forgot her medicine. That's what you're going to say. That's what you're going to say. That's what you're going to tell my family. You see what I'm saying? So, I know you had a hard day. I know we're having hard days. I know we're having short days and all of that. But you gotta keep your humanity. You gotta keep your care for. I don't know what it's gonna take. If you still have to work under those conditions, if you can't get out, but you gotta do whatever it takes to heal whatever that is inside of you and do some self-care. I'm talking to you, healthcare providers, patients. We need to start taking better care of ourselves on a emotional level, so that we can be better human beings. So we can care for our people better than we're doing right now. Yeah, and all of these things is not our fault. It's nobody's fault. It's a system. This is how it is. But you as an individual do not have to treat people this way. And you don't have to have this anger on you all the time, or whatever you need to do to get that kind of attitude, disgruntledness when you are approaching a colleague and patients. You need to do that. And I know it's not some of us, a lot of us cannot just get another job. You have responsibilities and you have to work in this condition. But if you gotta work there, then you gotta do the work to keep your humanity. Because that pharmacist dropped the ball. And I don't know what he's used to working in, but I would say if you were in my store, this is nothing, it seems very slow, but I don't know what he's been what he's used to is relative. I worked in a factory type of situation, the volume, but I also had a lot of people. It still wasn't enough people, but I never had to work with just 2 people. So it's relative. And I undoubtedly, if he couldn't get a prescription ready in 3 hours, he wouldn't be able to work at a store like mine was. And then after all of that, the district manager got in touch with me and gave me the number to the 24-hour, because even searching it, I couldn't find it. You know why? Because it shows you the search of stuff that's like 15 minutes away, that's near you. This 24-hour store was 30 minutes away, so it wasn't coming up. She had to give me the number, and I went over. I called that pharmacist. He said, come right over. I went right over. He had it ready, and let me tell you, this man was by himself. Nobody helping him. And there was a lot of work to be done. Yes, he didn't have to have patient interaction, but there was a lot to be done to get the day started for the next day, as far as making sure the ready fill was finished. And he had to do this by himself, no robot, manual, everything. So he gets my compassion, you know. And he took the time out to do this for me right away, then come and talk to me about it and told me, you know, just like you would do a patient. I'm a colleague. I'm a peer, and he come to do what he would do for a patient, for me, knowing that I am a colleague and I know about medicine, I know about that. But he took the time that the other person didn't, to make me feel valued as a patient of his, not just a colleague, you know. And that I really appreciated. And even the district manager, she didn't call me directly, but she was texting with me. And up into the middle of the night and stuff like that, I was laying down and my heart rate went up to 126 and 140. I'm just laying down, you know, resting heart rate. And so she was like in communication with me until, you know, I figured some of that time she was asleep, and because it was overnight. And when she got the message, she gave me some aid and told me where to go. So I do appreciate that. But she shouldn't have to be disturbed in the middle of the night for something like that, you know. But because some people are overworked, I'm telling you, they are overworked. But it's no excuse for the decision you made to act that way. But they are overworked, they are short-staffed, they are hungry, they might have to use the bathroom, and all of those things. So that's why I have some compassion on them, and I hope that in the future he would train his technicians to have a better. This is the way it was. She wasn't doing nothing that was out of the norm. This is business as usual for how they closed the pharmacy. She was acting like it protocol, which, you know, 100% I know this is not, but this is the culture. This is what they've been telling people. And they've been trained to do that. Okay, so you have to take a little more pride in your name and who you represent. And you don't have to care about the company. You could be mad at the company, whatever. But it's your name that's on that bottle that you give people. It's your name that said, this is okay. I'm making it safe for you to take home with you. You can trust me. That's your name on that. So your name should mean something to you. And the oath that you took to care for people should mean more to you. So let's try to do a better job of that, okay? Let's try to remember that word, care. In healthcare, in caring for our peers and colleagues, and in self-care. Remember that. That's what we're here for. We're here to care for people. So I pray for you tonight, all of you, all of my colleagues, all of the team, of all the disciplines. I love you all. And I couldn't do my job without you. We are a team. And I greatly appreciate all the work that you do for every short day that you had to have, for every call out, I sincerely thank you for trying to do your best. My ask is that you take care with healthcare, with yourself, and care for one another. Thank you. I'm Dr. Barry Eckwright. That's me, Dr. Kamika Baylor, and see you next time.